Hey guys, welcome back. I got something pretty exciting. Basically, I made a video, I don't know how many, it was like over a year ago, where I replaced the engine mounts on my Mustang. Basically, I just had stock motor mounts, and I bought some billet ones from Prothane, so they kind of look like these. And then, as time progressed and the build progressed, I got supercharger and the hood vent on my hood here. And for more clearance, I needed some half-inch lower or adjustable motor mounts, so I got some Bmr Motor Mounts. That's going to be kind of hard to see, but they're down right in there. You see that? And they're all right. The only thing is they are stacked, so you have like plate, bushing, plate, and everything in a long bolt that goes all the way through. And I prefer these mounts. These were really good from Prothane. I really liked how it made the car feel, and ever since changing, been interested in replacing them. Prothane actually reached out to me on Instagram. They saw the video where I did the original motor mount replacement where I put the Prothanes in, and they asked if I wanted some lower ones. So they actually, with their R&D team, made some lower, half-inch lower for better clearance for like superchargers or anything else. Also just lower motor mounts help the driveline angle in these Mustangs all the way from 2005 up to 2014. Driveline angle is an issue, so lowering your motor helps that. So really cool. So they sent these to me, and also while they were at it, they're like, do you want a trans mount? So I'm like, hell yeah. So this is for their they have it marked as a 2015 through 2020 part, but that fits any 6R80 or 10R80. So I have a 6R80 swap on my Mustang here, so this should work as well. So I have a billet mount as well. It's got a little polyurethane insert in there. It'll be awesome. They also sent me a billet shifter bracket. I have an automatic, so I can't use it, so I'm actually giving it to Vince's brother Brandon, who has a 2013 Mustang GT. He's had issues at the track and just normal driving it where the MT82 shifter just will lock him out. Supposedly it's supposed to help with that. I'm also going to be giving him my old transmission mount that has a white line polyurethane insert, and then also my old Bmr motor mounts offered him for him too. So that'll be something cool to see. I'll show you how to replace the shifter bracket for a billet and polyurethane shifter bracket and transmission mount and motor mounts on his Mustang as well. So very excited to finally get these in. There's just a couple things that we need to do first. Just for more clearance, I'm going to remove my intake here. And then I do need to lift it up. Like I said, with these mounts right now, there's a bolt that goes all the way through. So there's a nut at the bottom I need to undo. Then it can all come out. These swapping motor mounts on these cars are very easy, actually. All you have to do is disconnect the two bolts that'll be right here, and then the center bolt, where on a stock mount, it's just a nut and a stud coming out of it. Just disconnect those two, and that, you actually don't even need to disconnect those two first. With a stock one, just as a kind of general overview, unbolt the nut that's on the stud, and then you can get under the car, get a jack, lift up kind of like right on the front of the oil pan. Just use like block of wood, make it safe. Lift it up a couple inches, the motor mounts will come above that. Then you can unbolt the two sides and then just pull them out. It's very easy. Honestly, if you have all the tools in front of you, you could do it probably in like 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and first take off the intake here, and then we can work on lifting the car to get the nuts at the bottom, and then unbolting. It's going to be pretty easy. So with the whole intake out of the way, I also just moved this PCV. You can see right down there, there's the motor mount. There's the center nut, and then the two bolts on the side. I'm gonna go ahead and get under there, just basically get a wrench on there, or maybe a vise, so I don't have to, it'll make it easier. Just hold the nut down there, and then get an impact on the top, and draw it out. All right guys, quick little clarification. The motor mount, if you can see, it's gonna be kind of hard to see. The nut is actually at the top, so I think I remember when I installed these, I put the bolt through the bottom up to make it easier, so I don't need to get a wrench down there. Basically all I need to do is get an impact on this and spin the nut off on the top. I might need to get some type of wrench or ratchet, or sorry, a wrench or vise on the bottom just to hold the bolt head. But from this one, at least, I can get my hand under it and actually touch it. So I might be able to do it from up here without even needing to lift it, which should be really cool. The other side, haven't really checked. There's less clearance because I have these hoses here, but I might be able to get my hand in there. We'll also have to see, but I'm gonna get my impact on, set it to the highest setting, and just blast the nuts off. That'll make it easy as possible. So the nuts are gone, we just have to lift up the motor, and that will get us where we need to go. Just need to get the motor lifted a couple inches to get above those bolts, and then we can just take off the side bolts and they'll come out super easy. Alright guys, Isaiah has all these nice long extensions. Kind of make it as short as possible just so we have enough power to just buzz the bolt off. Here we go, set to 3. Don't want to lose as least amount of torque as possible. So here we go. Yep, so that got it off first try. Well, that got it off first try. You can see the washer down there and just the stud. So that came off way easier. This is actually looking to be easier and more kind of like stock for you guys. You can imagine this is like the stock motor mounts, not obviously, but there'd just be a nut at the top and a stud all the way through. It wouldn't be a bolt all the way through like this one, it'd be a stud, so you wouldn't have to worry about, you know, the actual whole thing spinning. But yeah, pretty easy. Let me get this bolt out. It's stuck in there, I think. Yeah, it's stuck in there. I'll have to get that out, but I'm gonna go over to the other side. Might have to use one of these longer ones and buzz that one off, and then I'll show you where to lift the motor. All right guys, this short one barely fits, so I'm just gonna use that. Hoping that got it. And it did. Yeah, these get stuck in the socket for some reason. I got the other one out there. Yeah. There it goes. So this worked out way better than anticipated. Don't even have to get under the car. So I'm gonna go get my floor jack and then a block of wood. And right under here, right where the crank is, there's a lip on the oil pan that kind of bolts to the actual front face of the, I guess the timing cover. It's a strong spot. I've lifted my motor there several times, so I'm gonna go ahead, roll the jack under there, get the block of wood, and then we're gonna lift up the motor. Just has to clear that stud. Kind of bad angle, but you have to clear that stud. So it only has to come up like 1.5 inches. Once it's lifted, we can unbolt those sides and just get the new ones in. All right guys, I have the jack under here, and as you can see right below, it might look like it's sitting on the crank, but it's not. Let me see if I can get a good angle of this. Might be kind of hard. Just bear with me. So the block of wood is sitting on the lip of the oil pan there, where it connects to the timing cover. Right there is the strongest way to lift it. You don't want to lift it like on the actual oil pan. There's no other real area for you to do that. So I'm going to start jacking it up, and you're going to see this lift up. Yeah, right there you can see it starting to lift up. Whole thing. And what you got to be careful of is just everything in the back. I do have some hoses in the back, and it will tip back just a smidge, but I'm gonna, you know, generally keep an eye on it, make sure we're not smashing anything as we go. We definitely don't want to like pinch any fuel lines or anything like that. There's some stuff you might just need to check before you start lifting. And there you go. You can see right down here, that stud, you can just pretty much push it through. The motor mount isn't attached at all anymore, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that bolt through, or get that bolt out and that bolt out. That way we can just snake this motor mount out of the way. So one of those bolts. And then gotta get my other arm in there. There is the other. Now I'm gonna try to get this out. It's kind of falling apart in my hand because it's like a layered thing. There it is. This is the old one. And as you can see, basically sits like that, sandwiched, and then bolts on. Motor mount sits on top of this, and then you put the nut through. And this is a adjustable motor mount, so there are shims you can get, but want them, you know, half-inch lower. So now that one is out, you can see right down there, there's nothing holding it up. We can get the new one in. And I guarantee you, these are easier to install. So, yep. There's only one way. I mean, universal either side will work for these. I'm just gonna get this one in real fast. Just slide this under, should go in easier. And I guess this is also a good time you can check the size. I mean, there's the nut at the bottom, so it has that, but they're gonna be about the same height. So I'm gonna get this one in. There you go. And my recommendation, so you can actually see it's not kind of like lined up perfectly with the bolt hole, I would install everything very loosely, just so you can get these bolts in, and then that wherever that bolt went, the center one, this guy, line everything up just so it gets threaded in. Don't tighten anything down yet, just thread it in, and then once you have both mounts in, you can lower it and torque them all the way down. First, just gonna get these bolts in here. This way the mount can't fall out in any way. It'll stay statically where it is. I bet you the passenger side is gonna be harder to get to because there's just less clearance there than the driver's side. Cool, so that's threaded in. We're just going to probably lower the motor to get the top one in. Might be able to work something out, but I'm gonna go ahead and basically did what I did on this side, on that side. Since it's lifted, I should just be able to push that main stud through and then unbolt the two side bolts and get it out. All right guys, got both mounts in, just loosely tightened. Haven't gotten the center bolts in yet. This one gave me a lot of trouble just with the clearance of everything, but it is still manageable. The left bolt actually fell, and I think it's in the subframe, so I'm gonna go ahead and bolt it down and then probably lift up the car and just get a magnet in there to grab it. Not a big deal. Also, if need be, I can just go to like the parts store and buy a new one. Might even have, you know, something that fits already in the garage, but I'm gonna go ahead and start lowering it so I can line up the motor mounts. Since it's not all bolted in yet, should be a bit movable, but yeah, it looks like it needs to just go down a bit farther. I'm gonna keep adjusting it. Basically the thought process, like I said, is get all the bolts in just loosely so it'll line itself up, then torque everything down. All right guys, I remember the trick to this. So like I said, just keep everything loose. So what you gotta do is get the center one through, just thread it a little bit, and then with the engine still lifted, you can actually move the mount up and down because it has space to travel. That will allow you to line up the bolts for the side. I just got one in on either side and then got the center bolt in. So now I can slowly lower this, tighten this a bit farther, and that will bring it into where it needs to go. So there's a little bit of a trick to it. You just have to move, which I can show you a bit better, but you can move the mount a bit independently. You can see that movement, and that's enough where I'm lifting right here and I can thread it in easily, and then the top's threaded. Did it on the other side. There's less clearance there, but pretty easy. There's less clearance, but it is easy, like I said. So now I'm gonna go ahead, lower it, start torquing them down, and then we're done with the front motor mounts. All right, guys, both the mounts are totally in. Well, I guess that one's not fully in. That one has been torqued down all the way. I also went back and put Loctite on the side bolts. I actually didn't put any in the center, but should be fine. Got them torqued down. So this side's all good. This side, like I said, is missing that far back bolt, but it should be easy to get to. It's really not that bad. Just need to get back under just need to get under the car and search through the subframe. There's like, it's kind of hollow, so I've unfortunately had things fall in there before, but I've gotten them out. Also want to make sure that everything behind that you had, you know, where, you know, the motor gets pushed back towards the firewall. Just want to make sure that everything's all good there. I didn't crush anything, so that should be all good. Now that this is done, I'm going to lift up the car, check for that bolt, and then we can start on putting the billet transmission mount on. I'd also just like to mention before we continue to subscribe to the channel. Also, leave a comment down below. Supposedly that helps, so appreciate it if you checked out our other videos and subscribed. Alright guys, got the Mustang up on jack stands. I think we've shown them before, but we have these nice new 6-ton jack stands. Just a bit safer, better, you know, just better peace of mind. So what we're going to be doing under here is installing the new billet transmission mount. Might want to sit down some cardboard. It's kind of gross under here, but I got a chock of wood under the lip of the oil pan. Again, this is kind of similar to the front. I can actually show you where I connected it there, or put the wood under. Kind of similar to that. I have to do on the lip. There's no other good place to support the transmission, so we're going to be removing this cross member, which are those 4 bolts, and then the 3 bolts up here. You can see that's a stock mount with the polyurethane insert. Once that's out of the way, we can easily just get the new one in. This one will be very fast. We just have to remove some zip ties and unbolt it. So I'm gonna go and do that. It looks like a couple of like 12 or 13s and 15 or 18 mil. So I'm gonna get my impact on here and get this out. Sorry about the loudness there, but these were very much not super tight. Like I could break them loose just with this, which I mean I can use as a ratchet, but once that's off, it only is like 30 foot-pounds, 25 foot-pounds. So now that that's unbolted, we can unbolt the 4 here, and this whole mount will come off. You can kind of, well, it was wobbling up here when I touched that, but undo those and then unbolt this and the new one can come on. Definitely going to put Loctite on these once I'm done. Because these are not very tight. Alright guys, as you can see, bracket's off. There is the stock one ready to come out. Just undo the nut there, and then we can put this new one on. And they're both labeled, so you can see that says front, and that shows front, so it'll go in this orientation. I'm going to go ahead and unscrew these and get this on. There we go. Old one's out. You can see, oh, this is an energy suspensions, your polyurethane insert, not a white line. My bad, guys. But you can see stamped steel with the really shitty mount in there, and then the insert had some stability, so Anyways, I need an Allen head to take these off, but this is just going to sit in like that, and then it'll just bolt right back up. This is way faster than the engine mounts, way easier. All right guys, got this off. Got the front facing the front. I'm going to, I globbed up these with Loctite, as you can see here, because I do not want these coming loose. I'm going to Loctite all of those bolts that we took off, just to be safe. And there you go. This is way beefier, holy crap. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back up there. Probably just get these mounted first and then the bolts through the here. Loctite all of them, obviously. And we can set the car on the ground. And then, kind of like the engine mounts, I'm just going to loosely put everything up and then torque it down. This one's a bit easier. It doesn't really need much lining up at all. All right guys, not sure why, but the camera turned itself off. I got it all bolted up here and torqued down with Loctite. There's a new mount all in supporting it. Very excited to see how this feels when driving. Depending on how harsh it is, might switch back to the original one and give this to Brandon. Like I said, he has a manual transmission. Solid mounts like this help the manual transmissions more, but just interested in see how this will go. All of them are torqued down again with some high strength Loctite, so should be much better now. So I'm gonna go ahead and lower the car. I also did find the bolt for the other motor mount while I was under here, so I can go ahead and put that back on once it's lowered. All right guys, old mounts are out. Got that last bolt in on that one. Everything is completely torqued down and all done. So I'm just gonna go ahead, put the car back together, warm it up, and we can go take it on a test drive. But yeah, these mounts weren't bad or anything like that. Just Prothane makes much better stuff in my opinion. And they're willing to work with us, which was amazing. So very, very excited to see how this all works out. And yeah, they're just great products. And guys, a little, not so much a cold start, but damn, that sounded like the engine was in the car. Holy crap. Hasn't started in a bit. Got all my gauges all fixed finally. Wideband's still coming on, but basically had some ground issues with the, you saw it, well, if you follow our Instagram, you might have seen, but I redid all the wiring in the Mustang for all the gauge pods. Got a nice little fuse panel under there. Kind of see it. Also new Gen 2 Quick 6 controller, but fixed all the grounds on these. Everything is reading 100% accurate now, so I'm just gonna let it warm up a little bit first, and then we'll head out. Also, while everything was out, seat's gone, just cleaned up under here. Also painted the brackets for the seats. You can kind of see right down here a little bit, maybe. Just trying to make it nicer in here, cleaned up. Got some Meguiar's back to black on all this stuff. Only problem is I don't exactly know where I'm going to be setting the camera because my seat's gone. I usually set it on the seat somewhere, but it's not here anymore. So I'm gonna figure that out here. All right. Kind of hear my belt squeaking a little bit. Needs to be warmed up a little bit, I think. But so far, just cruising. It actually doesn't feel all that much different. Holy crap! You really hear the transmission. Really hear the transmission. Jesus. far, don't know how I feel about the transmission mount. I can hear the driveline so hard. You could probably pick it up on camera too. It's definitely not like this normally. Not looking so great for me keeping it in, honestly. Belt's going crazy. A little spicy. So far, doesn't feel much different. I just really hear the driveline. So, I'm just gonna drive it a bit more, see how it feels, and yeah, I'll give you my opinion once we're back. Woo! Yeah. Feels really good. It's really putting the power through it. I don't know if it's just placebo or just my butt dyno being a little miscalibrated, but that felt pretty good. Just very loud driveline angle, or very loud driveline noise. Alright guys, well, just got back from the test drive, and the billet transmission mount might be, or no, might not be, is definitely too much. It feels really good. The driveline noise is just way high. Like, my rear gears whine. Just the install of the 373s was not great, and so it whines, which I learned to live with. Something like this, it is so loud. It's always there. It's like a built, it sounds like a built transmission. I'm sure you could probably hear it in the video. It's just so loud. So I think I'm gonna be swapping back to my original one. Like I said, the transmission mount really is primarily an upgrade for the manual transmission Mustangs. So I guess Brandon's getting, you know, billet shifter and transmission mount. With his, it should be better, I would say. I don't know if it's the combination of the motor mounts and the transmission mount and all that, but it is just so dang loud. I mean, I'll see if Brandon wants it. We can install it, see how it goes. Like I showed you, it's a super fast swap, so it's not like, you know, he's gonna be out or anything with that mount. But yeah, it's how you install the motor mounts and transmission mounts. Just want to give Prothane a huge shout out. They're amazing for providing us with these parts. They're definitely going to good use. You know, it's going to be in our cars. Check out their Instagram, check out their website. Any suspension needs you have, they'll have bushings, mounts, everything. Super great company. So check those guys out. Definitely check out some of our other videos. We have a lot of how-to videos and other, you know, Mustang, Chevy stuff. We have a huge variety on our channel, so definitely check out those. Definitely appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, and comment down below.